Surabhi.
Fair enough. What about the healthcare and pharma space, Pashupati? What kind of stocks are you picking here?
See, again, I don't think the run is over in that sector. Okay, two things. One is that pharmaceuticals. If you've got anything to do with the vaccine, you are making money because whether it's a blood testing or whether it's actual manufacture or APIs, there isn't enough to go around. So as long as you're in that vertical, you're bound to make money. And I think there is some price sensitivity because of caps, but that will remain because at the end of it all, we need to get the vaccine out there. We need to get people vaccinated. And at the end of it all, if we're not willing to pay, other governments are going to be willing to pay to get the vaccine. So I think that's what's happening. In terms of hospitals and healthcare, I think the government has kind of taken their foot a little bit off the capping. And today you can go to a hospital for non-COVID stuff, so things are coming back to normal. And I think that's going to be a big benefit for that sector because there's a lot of pent-up surgeries that have been waiting to happen, and I think that will all start happening over the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay, so,
Anuj?
so still positive on hospitals and healthcare. Now, Pashupati, there's a lot going on in the tier two lending space, and I'm referring to all these deals that are happening and then they're getting stalled. I mean, PNB Housing and what's going on there, and now PMC will turn into a small finance bank, courtesy the deal with Centrum. Just your thoughts. I mean, it's become buying an ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank is the easier bit. The difficult bit is to pick something beyond them. Would you?
Well, I would personally not, because I actually feel that the brunt of a lot of these players have gone into making marginal loans. A lot of them have been made on the internet. A lot of them have been made against shopping. And though that money is not likely to come back. And I think when that blood begins to hit, then the NBFCs, the second tier NBFCs are going to get hit. And then what's going to happen? They're either going to go to the bank that's lent them the most money and say, bail me out, or they're going to get taken over. So we are seeing some of that already happening. I think the NBFC space has got a lot to do before it gets cleaned up. And even some of it is going to wash onto the main banking space. Now, again, that as well as a combination of the NCLT now coming out with 3 or 4 deals which are really low percentage money coming back, so that's another challenge. And even you take a potential transaction like Jet Airways, where the deal is hinging on the fact that whether they're going to get their slots back or not, and if they don't, that's another liquidation which is going to give less than 5 cents on the dollar to the banks. So I think that's going to hurt as well.
Okay, fair enough. Pashupati, what's the view on Reliance now? Because after a period of underperformance, it's beginning to rise once again. As we move towards the AGM, what's your call on the stock?
Reliance is in everyone's market. Okay, they're in petroleum, they're in obviously the downstream, they're in shopping, they're in malls, they're in telecom, they're in all the verticals that India touches. So I think it's kind of a proxy. It's always been a proxy on the market. So as long as the market does well, Reliance will do well. I'm guessing I read an article either today or yesterday about someone from Saudi Aramco joining the board of Reliance. So I guess that deal is going to progress, and that's going to be cash for the company, which is always welcome. And so I think that we're going to continue to have good news out of Reliance. Maybe they'll take Jio and the third part and put it into SPACs in the US to get them listed. But there's going to be some creative financing happening, and I think that's going to be good for the stock with all good news going forward, is my guess. Anuj?
All right, so that's that's a positive note on Reliance as well. Now, speaking of commodity-related plays, I mean, a large part of Reliance is still commodities. I have to ask you about metal stocks, and what do you think of the cycle? I mean, is it indeed a new multi-year cycle? In which case, should you buy every one of these pauses or dips, or is it getting a little too hot?
Well, the metal cycle, unfortunately, we are driven by China policy. And what China says and what China does, only China knows. So, they've announced that they're going to let some of their reserves go. Then prices have come down in all these commodities. Then they've turned around and gone back because they've started buying. So, unfortunately, we are followers in this market, and we are on the second or third tier of information. So I'd love to say buy the metals, but I also recognize that things like steel, prices are at all-time high. Iron ore prices are also high. So, these things are also going to have some effect onto those companies. So whether you buy the full metal pack or you buy partially, time will tell. But again, I repeat, we are followers to China and we are at their behest, unfortunately. I would love for us to be independent of them. Surabhi?
Okay. What about this opening up trade, Pashupati? Restaurants, cinema halls, these kind of stocks. Would you buy any of these stocks?
Well, again, I don't think so yet. But for example, in the US, it's already started to happen. And assuming you don't get another wave, it means the vaccines are working and it means that sector will follow. So then it's time to jump in. Here, we're still, we're not even close to being vaccinated, at a serious number. So we're not going to have that benefit. So we're a little bit lagged behind them. So maybe one can look at it, after 3 months or so. But I think that, some of the hotel stocks have moved up quite smartly. So I guess there's an expectation that we're going to be ahead. But as I said, let us look at the developed markets to see how they're doing. US is one thing, Europe is another one, where there's been a lot of a lot of people hurt. But at the end of it all, that sector has got destroyed. It has a lot of people employed and it has a lot of jobs there and a potential job acquisition in that space. So, it is a driver for the economy. So maybe the government might subsidize something. I doubt it in our government, but in the US, certainly they've given money to a lot of companies and they've been able to come out of it as a result. So, I doubt if our government is going to do it, but they should if they were following Western governments in doing what they're doing. Anuj?
Okay. That's on the opening up trade. Now, Pashupati, all of the last 1 year, we've heard this phrase, the big getting bigger, right? And yet you have all these mid caps and small caps that are flying around. So in general, would you be more comfortable sticking to larger companies, market leaders, companies of larger size as such? Or is it really the time for mid caps and small caps?
See, we as an investing public, and I will say the retail and HNI people in India, they've always been in small and mid caps. So therefore, when the market turns, they get really walloped and the market is running, the small and mid caps are in the front. Big caps are there for index funds, which again, I see more and more money going to passive index funds and even to these quasi-active index funds that we have in India. And, so that's always going to be the market. So you look at people who are looking at investing as HNIs, 70-80% is in the top 100 stocks or 150 stocks. The rest is in, so-called speculative, either individual or in small cap indices or in, small and mid cap indices or funds. They're in that space. So yes, we as an investing public would love to punt in the small and mid caps. Eventually, the small and mid caps become large caps, and that's the game we've always played, and we will continue to play it. But and I'm as a conservative be on both sides. So have some large caps and also have some small and mid caps in my portfolio.
Okay, fair enough. That's a good advice for our viewers. Pashupati, always a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much for joining in. You stay safe. Take care.
Thank you to both of you.
Yes.
Thank you to both of you.
We'll chat again soon.
And
thank you.
The CNBC team.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we do have to take a break, but before that, Anuj, just any incremental thoughts on the market? I mean, it's not moved much, but at the same time, that huge surge that was building, that momentum, that's kind of stabilized for now.
I think people will book profit, Surabhi, as well. This is clearly, this is a market in which you don't want to get stuck with gap downs because for 2 days now you're having. Now, what's interesting is right now the Dow futures are up 140 points. So you're pricing in some kind of a bounce back in the US market tonight. So how much of this you have already presaged today? I think you don't know. So tomorrow morning you want to take a fresh guard. Nothing wrong with that. The market's verdict is very clear. You can't chase momentum, but when the market gives you dips, then you buy and make money. Easier said than done, of course. But of course, you need to have your risk management in place. I think traders know that. But that's what the market's verdict has been once again today.
Okay, well, so far it's holding steady. We still have a full half hour to go. So let's see how the final rates play out. Right now, a quick break. We'll come back on the other side and talk about the big move on NTPC. The Q4 numbers weren't exactly stupendous, but there's something that the market is reading in the fine print which it really likes. So we'll turn the spotlight on that stock. Then, of course, NMDC reports tomorrow. So expectations coming up. And then, of course, our usual segments, D Street Chatter, as well as the calls for the last half hour.